What if the most powerful marketing strategy for your business wasn't ads, cold outreach, or social media? What if it was simply having conversations with the right people? Today, I'm going to show you how business leaders are turning podcasts into one of the most powerful lead generation systems available. So, welcome to the inaugural episode of Stack and Startup Al Fresco, the channel where we ask business leaders to think outside the box as we talk about business growth, leadership, and the real strategies behind scaling companies. If you are a small or medium sized business leader, you already know something important. The best opportunities in business do not come from strangers, they come from relationships. And a podcast is one of the most powerful relationship building tools ever created. Let's start with a reality many business leaders face. Most marketing today feels like noise. Cold emails, cold calls, ads competing for attention, and buyers have become very good at ignoring it. But here's an interesting thing: people still love conversations, whether it be podcast interviews, business discussions, and especially networking events. When two professionals sit down and talk about business, ideas, and experience, people listen. That is the foundation of the podcast method. So, what is the podcast method? It's simple. Instead of chasing prospects, you invite them to a conversation. Think about this for a moment. If you sent a cold email asking for a meeting, you might get ignored. You are likely to get ignored. But if you invite someone to be featured on a podcast, something interesting happens. Your response rate skyrockets because everyone likes talking about their business, and most people love sharing their story. The first step in the podcast method is strategic guest selection. You are not inviting random guests. You're inviting people who are potential clients, strategic partners, industry leaders, and influencers in your space. Now, suddenly, your podcast becomes something powerful. It becomes a relationship engine. Imagine having meaningful conversations with CEOs, founders, and decision makers in your market every single week. That's a networking strategy most businesses would only dream of. The second step is creating conversations that actually matter. Your podcast shouldn't feel like a sales pitch. It should feel like a business conversation worth listening to. Some topics that you would include would be industry trends, growth challenges, leadership lessons, and technology shifts. When you focus on real insights, two things happen. Your audience learns something valuable, and your guests start to see you as a thoughtful professional, which is a much better impression than a cold LinkedIn message. Now, here's where the podcast method really shines. After the interview, the relationship begins. You're going to have follow up emails, networking lunches, and then some business partnerships. You've just spent 30 to 45 minutes having a thoughtful conversation with someone in your industry. You have learned about their business. They have learned about yours. And you have built rapport. That's something traditional marketing rarely achieves. Many podcast hosts report that their best clients started as guests. But the podcast method doesn't stop with the conversation. One podcast can become LinkedIn posts, YouTube videos, short form clips, blog content, email newsletters. In other words, one conversation becomes weeks worth of marketing content. And the best part, your guests often share it with their audience. Now your reach just doubled, and likely more. The podcast method works because it aligns with three powerful principles. The first being authority. Hosting podcasts positions you as a connector and thought leader. The second principle is trust. Conversations build trust far faster than marketing messages. And the third principle, network effects. Every guest expands your network and your audience. Over time, this becomes a powerful ecosystem. Some of the most successful business leaders I know didn't build their network by chasing leads. They built them through conversations. A podcast simply turns those conversations into a system. As far as my personal business is concerned, I am starting from scratch. I don't have the type of business connections that a lot of other people have developed over the years. And I have noticed that inviting people doesn't always work 100% of the time, but it has been far more successful than cold outreaches. So I would like to thank you for listening to Stack and Startup Al Fresco. If you found this valuable and you want more insight on business growth and leadership and using modern media to grow your company, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to the channel, making sure that you never miss an episode. You can find us on YouTube and everywhere you get your favorite podcasts to follow along as we continue to explore business and technology from a different perspective. Lastly, if you want to support these conversations directly, you can become a patron at patreon.com/stackandstartup. Until next time, keep thinking outside the box.